This is
Make It Plain.
Make It Plain.
MIP
With Masamela Matfumo.
Mark Thompson.
Make It Plain.
Get woke.
New from Radiotopia presents Red for Revolution, an audio drama about Black love, queer romance, and liberation. Join Jasmine, an 18-year-old navigating her queer identity while learning about her grandmother's secret love affair. Through her discoveries, we're transported back to 1971 to witness two remarkable women embark on a romance that defies all conventions. Subscribe to Radiotopia Presents and listen to Red for Revolution wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to another edition of Make It Plain on WPFW FM in its current form, back on local radio here in Washington, D.C. And as always, it's a pleasure to be here with you. We've got a couple of guests joining us today. First of all, we're going to hear with from State Senator Ray Reid in Missouri. They are resisting redistricting in Missouri as other states have been doing. We saw what we had a few weeks ago, the elected one of the elected officials in Texas. Now we're going to be talking to a Black elected official in Missouri who's also putting up a resistance to this redistricting that Republicans are carrying out and taking over all across the country. So he'll be with us a little bit later, and in just a moment or so, we'll be joined by Deborah Watts of the Emmett Till Legacy Foundation. 2025 is an important year in that it is the 60th anniversary of Bloody Sunday earlier this year, but also this is the 70th anniversary of Emmett Till. And Emmett Till, quite obviously, is his story, his ordeal. What he went through was the spark that launched the modern civil rights movement in this country. So we'll be talking with one of the surviving members of his family, Deborah Watts, a cousin, will be joining us to talk about how they commemorated the 70th observance of Emmett Till's martyrdom. Very, very important for that to happen the way in which that did happen. And, it was his mother, Mamie Till Mobley, who decided to let Jet magazine publish the images of her son's brutalized body. That changed a lot too. That was something for people to see and to really be mobilized by, and I quite obviously traumatized by. I remember when my kids were kids, and they're still young. They're adults, but young. And I shared that documentary with them, and they saw the compelling images of Emmett Till's remains. They screamed. They were traumatized as well. And those aren't the type of images that anybody is necessarily prepared to see. But Mamie Till Mobley did it anyway. And we should be thankful she did it, because if not, that was the back then version of the George Floyd video or the Rodney King video or any of these other videos we've seen. There weren't cell phones then. But to have those photographs shown, and there were those who obviously advised against it. Yet she did it anyway. And if we had not had that, I don't know how mobilized we would have been when it comes to the meaning of his martyrdom and the motivation it gave us to engage in struggle the way in which we did. The modern civil rights movement was born after 1955. August 28th, 1955. August 28th, by the way, is an historic day in African history because you have August 28th, 1947, Jackie Robinson signs his contract with the Brooklyn Dodgers. August 28th, 1955, you have Emmett Till. August 28th, 1963, the Great March on Washington. And then August 28th, 2008, Barack Obama accepts the nomination of the Democratic Party to be the president of the United States. So this is a significant day in our history for our people, and one in which we invite commemoration, celebration. I've never liked calling deaths. You know, people say the anniversary of Emmett Till's death, the anniversary of Dr. King's death, the anniversary of Malcolm X's death, because I don't know that you celebrate a death. You celebrate an ascension, maybe even celebrate a martyrdom. But I'm always very careful about that when I speak to it, because sometimes I prefer to refer to it as the acknowledgement, the commemoration of a martyrdom. And Emmett Till was most certainly a martyr. Most certainly. We also want to just lift up and remember one of the Greensboro Four, who was at the lunch counter, Joseph McNeil. Just lost him in the past few days. The Greensboro sit-in 1960. It was that sit-in which sparked another very important aspect of the movement, the sit-in portion. That got the sit-in movement, the lunch counter movement going. It started in Greensboro, and then immediately that's what prompted James Lawson, who had been training John Lewis and Marion Barry and Bernard Lafayette and Diane Nash in nonviolent direct action, got them going. Greensboro sparked Nashville just months later in 1960. And that's what got that off the ground. But we're going to go ahead and hear from our very special guest now, who represents the Emmett Till Legacy Foundation on this 70th commemoration, 70 years since Emmett Till's martyrdom. And as she has a shirt. I need one of those shirts.
You do.
I have another one. I should have worn it today. Deborah Watts is here. Deborah, how are you, dear friend?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in here on these 70s. I was just going through the list of August 28, 1947, Jackie Robinson signs his contract. August 28, 1955, Emmett Till. August 28, 1963, March on Washington. Yes. August 28, 2008, Barack Obama accepts a Democratic nomination. So that's a sacred day in our history. But it's good to see you looking well. You don't look like you've been riding on a bus for days. First of all, tell us about the bus tour in Mississippi.
Oh, Thank you for asking, and thank you for having me too, first of all. The Till Trail of Tears and Terror
Mm.
educational historical bus tour is what we've been doing for several years. And it is an opportunity for people to join our family. We're the cousins of Emmett. We are related to Emmett on his mother's side. Um, and our great grandfathers, actually, my great grandfather and Emmett's great grandfather are brothers. And so it's an opportunity for us to add our authentic voices to an experience that we think is like none other that you can have. And it is an opportunity to go on a trail, what we call of tears and terror, um, that Emmett was on, similar uh, trail that he was on that fateful night that he was taken around to different counties in Mississippi to different sites where he ended up in Drew, Mississippi, being beaten and shot, and then also where he ended up being thrown into the Black Bayou and then later surfaced in the Tallahatchie River. And we include on that trail of tears and terror also museums, the place where Emmett's mother had to be secured in Mount Bayou, a all black town. She couldn't stay in Sumner, Mississippi, where the trial was held because she took it upon herself with a lot of courage to appear there, which was unheard of, back in those days in 1955, that a black person would be accusing or laying any kind of claim against a white person for the horrific deeds that were done. But so we include Mount Bayou, we include the store where Emmett did whistle at Carolyn Bryant. It's ruins now, actually. We also, you don't see a structure there. Or you don't see a structure, but it's all grown over. It's something you have to experience. It's we describe it, but as some of our Gen Zs who were on this last tour with us last week, they said there you can't describe this. You have to be there. So we go on the 30 or so miles. We cover that in addition to some of the other sites that Emmett was taken on. So it's a life-changing experience. It's one that we learn something new each time. We include um, some of the tour guides from that area that know some of the stories. They know some of the dark places, the light places. They know some of the folklore, also the truth, because they heard it while they were growing up. So we include some of them on our tour as well. We actually go to what is now the national monument locations that have been designated by President Biden. We go to the area where Emmett's body emerged. That's now a national monument area. It's not a structure, it's just the side of the river. And then we go to the courthouse where that's now, it's not, they didn't structure something, just took that existing facade or facility and made that a national monument now, the courthouse. There's a Confederate soldier that's and statue that's right in front of it. So now that's all federal property. We go to I think I mentioned the barn as well. So there are several locations that we explore, and the beauty of this is we take the bus from Jackson, Mississippi, because we have a lot of other events on this 70th anniversary and what we've done over the past few years where we start there. We like to go to some of the historical Black colleges there, engage with some of the young people there. We, did Till movie screenings, and then we board the bus after one of the city council members, Kenneth Stokes, has a memorial parade every year to honor Emmett. And so we join up with him. And then right after that, we board the buses, take that 2-hour trip up through the Delta. On our bus, we've collaborated with one of our ambassadors, and we've created a little movie that people can watch. And it actually describes Emmett's journey and a little bit of the history behind it and each of the sites that we're going to see. So we've curated a really, I think, amazing experience for people.
And congratulations on that. We're thankful for that. As I hear you describe it, I'm. You can see I'm outside right now. It's beautiful. I'm here in my seminary.
Good.
And no, really, and people
Love
who've heard me preach know this about me. I will often draw parallels between our struggle as African people and the struggle of Christ. So,
Yes.
you know, as I'm hearing you describe Emmett's journey, I mean, what you've done for me and for others, the way I hear that and receive that, you have chronicled and documented Emmett's journey to the cross, the same way we chronicle and document Christ's journey to the cross. And no, really, I mean, the passion, movement, the places that he would. So how many, and since you brought up, I want to get a little bit into that. How many stops is it? And how they correspond to where he was taken. Can you walk us through that a little bit, Deborah?
Yes, I will try. It's an emotional one for us when I think about it, but we do have that all documented. I didn't bring all the stops with me. And because of emotions and what we want to focus on, sometimes we include or exclude. It kind of depends on what's happening during the tour. But we first stopped at what's now a statue that is erected in Greenwood, Mississippi. And that is something that Senator David Jordan made sure happened. There's a tall statue it looks like a man. It does look like a 14-year-old boy, but just the significance of identifying Emmett and putting him in that place in Greenwood is significant. And I really appreciate David Jordan doing that. So we stopped there. People take photos there. And then we head to the store in Money, Mississippi. And we look at the ruins there now. That store, it is alleged that it's owned by one of the former jurors of the trial, who now wants millions of dollars for it's not a structure any longer. But one of my cousins is identifying that, doing a lot of the research on these sites too, because one of the things I do want to say as I'm talking about this is that one of the things our family is not in favor of, and that is making sure that the perpetrators are not benefiting, because many of these sites that may be acquired by the federal government, they're not owned by us. Many of them are owned by people that are from that area, could be perpetrators, could be former jurors, and we know in fact that is the case, could be family members, that could benefit. When you hear about a national monument, there has to be a transaction, with whether it's that site or that spot of land, between someone, owner and perhaps federal government. And so one of the things we want them to be mindful of is, okay, who are you making this transaction with? Would they have been involved with the murder of Emmett or the kidnapping of Emmett? And if that is the case, we think that you should not make that transaction. Maybe a marker or something is there, because there's money involved. There's a lot of profit involved now around Emmett. So these sites that I'm identifying, it has provided an economic engine for that area, where there are some people that are benefiting and some are not. And what we like to see are the residents of that area, mostly African Americans, mostly, who probably don't own a lot of the property, but we want to see them involved somehow where they can engage, where they can be a part of, where they can benefit also. So if anyone's going to benefit, it should be the people that have been in that area for a long time. And there should be some consciousness around, who's profiting off of the blood of Emmett Till. So back to the trail, we go to the store, and then we also identify an area which is adjacent to the store. It's a old gas station, Ben Roy's gas station, where the owners were given like $250,000 to renovate it. Had nothing to do with the store, but it was adjacent to it, and it was to be I guess, a stopping point or historical point in the story. But again, here we have people in the town who are benefiting from something that really wasn't even associated with Emmett's story at all, but it is a part of it. And we use that area as a place to gather, to begin our tour, to talk about the history, our experience, the experience of others. We try to include the voices of individuals in that area too. So after we leave there, then we've gone to Drew, Mississippi. Drew, Mississippi is where they took Emmett, and that's some 30 or so miles from that spot where they took Emmett. That's the barn that you hear now, the barn. There's a writer with ESPN that has written a book called The Barn. That barn is now alleged to be purchased by very famous producer and writer, Shonda Rhimes, of which we've been trying to get in touch with Shonda Rhimes as well, but has helped an organization there, which I'm not going to name. And they partner with us in some instances. I'll just say it, the Interpretive Center, the Emmett Till Interpretive Center. They're interpreting, a narrative that fits, that area. But anyway, so she has helped them tell the story and is helping them, alleged, to purchase that barn. And so when we arrived this last time to the barn, we saw a sign. Before, you couldn't drive up on that property. Now you can put a bus on that property. You can walk all over it, because a portion of it is privately owned by Dr. Andrews. He's a dentist in the area. And it has been something that our family and people that have been part of the investigation have had access to for years, where now it's almost like, this, it's been a sacred spot for us. And it's turned into something a little bit different now. I think someone held a memorial service there just this past weekend as well, a little bit ahead of the time that we got there. So we go, excuse me, I'm so sorry. You're outside and I have these allergies on the inside.
That's okay. Take your
So
And
sorry
let's get
about
this
that.
quick. For those of you who have quick questions, 202-588-0893, 202-588-0893. Please go right ahead.
Yes. Let's see. Then we go to the Tutwiler Funeral Home, where Emmett's body was prepared. We try to include also driving past where Mose Wright's church was and where his home was. We try to include that. Then we head to Mount Bayou, where Emmett's mother was secured, where Medgar Evers, was there, where they used that. That was a sanctuary city, if you will. We call them sanctuary cities now, but that was a sanctuary city at that time for African Americans, an all-Black town. Dr. T.R.M. Howard was well known there, had a hospital there, the Taborian Hospital. These are famous locations, part of our history that we all need to know about, and these people as well. So we try to include their stories. And there's a wonderful museum there now, the Mount Bayou African American History and Culture Museum. It's wonderful. They tell the story of Mount Bayou, where cotton was king. They had the best cotton in the area, along with uh, fast forwarding it to 1955 with the story of Emmett. But now it houses artifacts from the Till movie, and then also Women of the Movement, and then some artifacts that have been donated by people in the area that tell the story from Jim Crow to the ownership, to the all Black town ownership, and who the founders were. And that's still thriving, and they're pushing forward to try to make sure that they have their narratives in place. There is a gentleman there that's in his 90s, the father of two of the narrators and founders of the museum. His father's there. He was actually, I think he took Medgar Evers' place when Medgar Evers was working for an insurance company there. So there's so much history. So we leave there from Drew and we go to the courthouse, we go to the interpretive center, and then we also go where Emmett's body was actually retrieved. And our last stop on the tour, we kind of go a little bit out of sequential order, but the last stop on the trip is in Glendora, Mississippi, where the mayor, Johnny B. Thomas, is there, all Black, or a Black mayor, has been a Black mayor, and there have been Black mayors there. And I discovered that one of my relatives was a mayor. One of our Reese family members was a mayor in that town back in the early 1900s, I believe. But the history is all there. He has one of the best museums in the area, which is not part of the historical documentation yet, not part of the National Park Service yet. We hope he maintains it, because he's done a wonderful job. He's received some support from the federal government, from the Congressman Benny Thompson as well, to secure and update what he has there. The interesting thing about Johnny B. Thomas is his father, Henry Lee Loggins, is a noted individual, part of Emmett's story, where he was alleged to have been a part of the abduction and the kidnapping of Emmett. So there were Black men that were involved in the murder of Emmett. And
Why? Why? Were they paid, or they were scared of the white folks? What?
Well, that's a great question. What we've known, I was just a toddler at the time when this happened, but what we've heard is that they worked for the two who were acquitted of the murders, and that was Roy Bryant and J.W. Milam. And they worked for Milam's brother, Leslie Milam, who had access to a lot of the properties, a lot of the locations that where Emmett was taken, had access to it and worked for them. And this was part of their job. It was part of them helping. It was part of them cleaning up after they murdered Emmett. And so it's a great question. Many of them did not have an opportunity to be a part of the trial. Some of them were tucked away so that they would not have an opportunity to be witnesses.
The black folk.
The Black folk,
Yeah.
yes, were held in jails and in other places. Keith Beauchamp is a dear friend, and also has been a part of this story and this investigation and the reopening of the case, and has really helped our family understand many of the details and the backstories around Emmett. It was too painful for our family.
Of course.
Now, Mamie, of course, with her courage, she was determined to know the truth. She was determined to seek justice for her only son, and later in years had an opportunity to connect in with Keith. And, therefore, The Untold Story of Emmett Lewis Till was one of the first documentaries that identified many of the witnesses, those that were there with Emmett the night that he was kidnapped, those that were there with him at the store where he did actually whistle. So when people say it was alleged that he actually did whistle. But whistling, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but let me do this.
Yes,
Hold that thought. How's your time? You got a few minutes? Because
I do. I do.
I want to go a little bit deeper, and we want to know how people can support the Emmett Till Legacy Foundation. But I'm sure you won't mind. Got some breaking news. There are members of the Missouri House who've been sitting in because of the special session to do the kind of redistricting trick that Texas did. And I don't know what our brother's time is like. He's there. He's probably under some duress, but I want to get him in. I want to go to the Missouri State House for a moment or two. Bear with me, Deborah. And folks, your calls 202-588-0893. Representative Ray Reed joins us from the Missouri State House, a young brother in the House of Representatives. Representative Reed, how are you, my brother?
I'm tired, Reverend, but blessed and highly favored. Thank you.
How long you been sitting in, man?
I lost count of the days since 10 a.m. on Thursday. How long is that? A while.
That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Today is Monday. That's 4 days, 4 or 5 days. You're on your 5th day now, and have you been able to get food and refreshment while you've been sitting in?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Members of our caucus have been amazing, and everybody's got a role to play. We're here holding it down. I'm sitting on the House floor. They've been doing town halls across the state to let people know what we're doing and taking turns coming to bring us food, supplies, as well as, the broader Democrat and progressive coalition across the country has been wrapping their arms around us. Even last night, Vice President Kamala Harris sent us some pizza and gave us a quick phone call.
That's great. So tell us what precipitated the sit-in. What happened to trigger you all making this decision?
Yeah, in many ways, really more ways than one. The history of race relations in the United States is a reflection of the history of race relations in the state of Missouri, from Dred Scott to Michael Brown. And this is once again a racist attack. They are trying to split up the 5th Congressional District represented by the Honorable Reverend Emmanuel Cleaver II in Kansas City, and dilute that minority representation in Congress, all because Donald Trump, he wants to stay in power. He wants to keep his power in Congress. In 2020, Donald Trump called the Georgia Secretary of State and asked him to find him 11,000 votes. Back then, Republicans said no. Now Republicans are saying, yes, sir, Mr. Trump, we'll have it done by Friday.
Oh, the session. Where is the session now? Is it
right now? We are gaveling in at 2:00. These cowards. Just be frank. These Republicans are cowards. We've been staying on the floor Thursday, Friday. They came in and gavelled in yesterday, gavelled out, ran out the room before we even got a chance to talk. We'll gavel in again here at 2:00 and hold our first votes. Usually the first votes are voice votes, but we intend to demand a roll call on every single vote on this one. So we'll hold a roll call vote on these congressional maps and changes to our initiative petition reform, which essentially citizen-led petitions. In 2024, the Missouri electorate codified reproductive care in our state constitution, and we put guaranteed paid sick leave in our guaranteed paid sick leave in our statutes. Missouri Republicans then decided to overturn the statute of guaranteed paid sick leave and completely erase it and put their abortion ban back on the ballot in 2026 to take away what the people just said they wanted to do. And
people voted for that. That was what the people voted for.
Yeah, and because they don't like that the people keep putting in these common sense laws and constitutional amendments, part of this special session isn't just about congressional maps. The second bill in this special session is to change how IP reform works, which currently you just need a simple majority to pass any initiative petition. But after they get done with it, you're going to need a 2/3 majority in each congressional district, which means all 8 congressional districts have to agree to put something into statute. The governor wouldn't even be elected if he needed that kind of majority.
That's something else. So is there a way to stop this? I know you're going to do the roll call, but what's the gap or the difference in terms of representation?
The ultimate recourse, well, right now it's 52 Democrats. We know how they fall in lines. We know how the votes are going to end up at the end of the day. Democrats are going to hold the line. Republicans fall in line. But what's going to happen is we're going to respond by going back to the people and putting back on the ballot again a change to our state constitution and take away this power from the legislature. Politicians should not be picking the voters. We're going to put this in the hands of an independent, nonpartisan commission.
Okay, that's good to know. My brother, how old are you?
28, Reverend.
So you Gen Z? Is that Gen Z? Are you Gen Z?
That's what they call me. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Gen Z too. So no, man. And you were just elected last year, right?
Yep, I've been here 5 minutes. 5 minutes. But the thing about my generation is that we don't really wait for permission. We just go ahead and get up and do it. So we're praying with our feet right now.
Yeah, no, and we need this is the regeneration of our movement, folks, and young brothers like this. Is there anything you like to and Ray, while we're here on screen with us, I'm going to go back to her, but I wanted to get you in. This is Emmett Till's cousin.
Oh.
And she just completed the bus tour acknowledging the 70 years since Emmett Till's martyrdom.
I was really just talking to my wife's from Mexico, and she's learning so much about just the history of the United States and the state of Missouri and African Americans here in the United States. And I told her, Emmett Till, his killing sparked a movement. And I think what we're seeing right now, this administration, this Republican Party, is going to be the same kind of spark necessary to spark a new movement, a new generation of leaders to get involved. So I thank you so much for all the hard work you've done, for all the trailblazing you've done for me to be able to even stand here. Like your generation, I know I wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much.
Is there anything, Representative Reed, that you'd like to leave with our audience, or anything you would have our audience do for you all?
Yes, please continue to spread the word about what we're doing here. Even if you're not in the state of Missouri, you can help by letting folks know what's going on here in Missouri, because if it's not happening in your state, they're coming to your state next. So don't worry about that. But yes, continue to please spread the word. If you're in the state of Missouri, Wednesday, we're going to be holding the largest demonstration in this building's history with a rally right here as the bill moves over to the Senate. So please come, spread the word, and please find your network, find out your community, how to get involved to make that positive change to make this world a better place.
Proud of you, young man. Keep us posted. I'm just a phone call away. And I presume you're posting on your socials. Where can people see your socials on Instagram? What's your Instagram? So folks can follow you.
It's Ray Reed MO on all social media.
All right. You from Missouri? Is that your home? Is that where you
born and raised in St. Louis? I love the Cardinals, St. Lunatic, all that good stuff.
All right, brother. God bless you, man. And we'll be here for you, okay?
God bless you.
You got one call, Rev.
Representative Ray Reed. Is it a call for Ray? Hold on, Ray. We have a call for you. Caller, go right ahead. You're on with Ray Reed and Deborah Watts. Go right ahead, caller, quickly. God bless you.
This is Rick calling from Germany.
Yeah, Rick.
I would like to ask the sister, whatever happened to the white men responsible for the death of Emmett Till?
Hold that thought. I thought you might have something for the representative. Ray, I'm gonna let you go so you can go focus. Stay well, be strong, get something to eat. This young man sitting in, I just was talking about before you came on how Emmett Till sparked the civil rights movement. We just lost one of the last, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the last surviving member of the Greensboro Four at the lunch counter. That sparked the Nashville sit-in movement that my family was involved in. So here's another generation. Every round,
And that's and the Republicans tried to get us to come off the floor, and they made threats. I said the folks who sat in diners didn't come out, neither can we. So we don't have a choice.
And they sat in those diners while they were having food thrown in their hair and beat up and bloody.
Yes.
So you all can do it. If anybody can do it, you all can. Bless you, brother. Love you, man. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Representative Ray Reed of Missouri. Go ahead, Rick from Germany, with your question, please.
Is the sister still there?
Yes, she said you were asking what happened in terms of the prosecution. Well, I mean, it's nothing that we know of, but the whole trial was a farce. That's well known, Rick. You know that.
I thought that they may have been retried after the first trial.
But now here's what we need to know. And in answering that, because this is Deborah knows my favorite subject in pet peeve. And Deborah, I think you were with Keith. You all were together in the basement, right? Going through stuff.
Yeah.
Going in the courthouse and found
the warrant.
The warrant for the woman who said he whistled. The famous Carolyn Bryant Donham, is that her name? Or Carolyn Donham Bryant?
Carolyn Bryant, yes. Well, couple things, the town and the sheriff at that time arrested Roy Bryant and J.W. Milam.
Now Roy was her husband?
Roy was her husband.
Right.
Yes. And J.W. Milam was his half-brother, was Roy's half-brother. But what we found is that warrant for the arrest included Carolyn Bryant's name. And we found that in 2022. We went to the Lafleur County Courthouse because, see, of course, as I described the tour, Emmett was kidnapped in one county. He was taken to a couple other counties as they were beating him and killing him. He was dumped in another county. So there were several different counties that were involved. And so the kidnapping, though, occurred in Lafleur County. And on that warrant for the arrest, it called for the arrest of Carolyn Bryant Donham, along with J.W. Milam and Roy Bryant. The person that did not get arrested at that time was Carolyn Bryant. And it is known that the sheriff said because she had young children that they didn't arrest her. But at that time, those two were taken because this was horrible. This is a 14-year-old boy that obviously the sheriff and those felt that this was wrong. They didn't let them get away with it, right? But by the time they were able to get them into court, and the town people saw what happened, they started blaming Emmett. It took them a few days before they kidnapped him. So they had to get up, their courage, to do that. They had to get other Black people involved as well. I do want to lift up the name of a hero and a shero here. And that is also the wife of Mose Wright, Elizabeth Wright, who was the sister and the aunt of Mamie Till Mobley, Emmett's mother. That was his great aunt. Anyway, she offered them money. She offered them all kinds of things in order not to take Emmett. But when Emmett was taken out of that home, he had to be identified. And Mose Wright said it was somebody with a light voice. And we know that was Carolyn Bryant that identified Emmett, because there were two other young Black boys that had been accosted early on when they were going around looking for Emmett Till. And they accosted them. One was beat up a little bit. One was like thrown to the ground, lost some teeth, I believe. And until they got to Emmett, and he had to be identified, and that had to be Carolyn Bryant. Certainly the people in the home weren't identifying him. They asked for the boy from Chicago that did all the talk because someone was talking about who it likely could be, right? So anyway, but yes, we went to the Lafleur County Courthouse. Elma Stockstill, who is no longer with us, allowed us that opportunity to search in the files. And within an hour and a half, you all, we found the actual warrant with Carolyn Bryant's name on it. It had not been removed out of that file since 1955. So when the FBI did their investigation, most of their investigation was done in Tallahatchie County, where the trial was held. But the kidnapping was in LaFleur County, where we don't believe anyone had searched for that warrant, but we did find it. And it was, let me just lift up the names of the people that were with us. It was Terry Watts, my daughter, her fiance, Khalid Rashid, who actually found it. And then Melissa Ernst, one of our ambassadors that lives near Drew, Mississippi. And then Keith Beauchamp, the filmmaker who did Untold Story of Emmett Till, and then also Till the movie.
Did you all keep the original copy?
We had it stamped. It's filed there in the courthouse. We have a copy of it. Actually, we have the original copy. Yes, of it. Yes.
Yeah,
we do have that.
Do we know
That was
why they were arrested and she wasn't?
Well, according to the sheriff, supposedly because she had young children, she wasn't arrested. But she was allowed to get on the stand and fabricate things that, she embellished what actually happened that day. She said Emmett grabbed her, made sexual advances towards her. So that's what the jury actually heard that she did. But her story just got embellished over time. And, that there was no way that they were going to convict and find guilty those two murderers at the time. But there are some brave people, I would say, that testified. Mose Wright testified. He actually pointed out the murderers in the courthouse. That was unheard of. Willie Reed, who actually heard the screams of Emmett that night that he was tortured, or that early morning hours that he was tortured. He ended up changing his name, moving to Chicago. I think his name is Willie Lewis. He changed his name. His wife had no idea for like 7 years that he was associated with the Emmett Till trial or Emmett's story at all. It tortured him. It haunted him for years. And many people, it's haunting, and rightfully so, particularly those that are related to, who hold on to evidence. The gun that they claim that murdered Emmett was just turned into the Mississippi museums. They made the announcement about a half hour before our press conference on the 70th anniversary, which was August 28th, that gun and the holster is now on display at the two Mississippi museums in Jackson, Mississippi. So
who had that? Who was holding that?
The donor is anonymous, but we do know we were given, and out of respect, we were given the notification by the current executive director of the museums, the director of the museums, and asked us what we thought about it. I just had mixed emotions, because I consider that gun evidence. That gun had to be evidence that was, I hope, explored by the FBI, and we understand that it was, but somehow it was returned back to whoever had it in their possession, where they could, based on the 70th anniversary, have an opportunity to make a transaction, with the historical society there. I believe it's called the History and Archives. They made a transaction, and I believe we're paid. I don't know how much, for that gun. And so now it's on display there. So there's so many things, from the beginning to the kidnapping, to the lack of arrest, to the acquittal of the murderers who later confessed, who were paid. So there's been payment associated with Emmett's story for years, for 70 years. I believe even before his body was cold, his mother was even offered movie deals, so it was making history then, and it's still making history today. Our issue as a family and as Emmett Till Legacy Foundation is that we want the truth told. We want justice, and we do have ways that we think we can get justice, and we also want accountability. And so the names of these people that are currently in records that have been redacted, heavily redacted. They're being unredacted now. At least the federal investigations have been, those records are being unredacted. We want the local records to be unredacted too. We want the audio tapes that we're understanding that confessions were made, deathbed confessions had been made. We want to know what those things are. And then we're working with our brave attorney, Jaribu Hill, out of Mississippi, who you might know her.
I know Jaribu well.
Yes. Well, she is working with us, has been working with our family, worked with Simeon Wright, who was in the bed with Emmett before he passed, was representing him. And then we wanted to pursue what Simeon was pursuing. And she's continued to work with us. But we're looking at other ways that we can identify the perpetrators, all of those that were involved, and then somehow on a posthumous legal manner to address their involvement.
I remember when you found the warrant, and some of us were advocating for Carolyn Bryant Dunham to be arrested and charged then.
Yes.
But she was in a nursing home, and I think she died a year after the warrant was found. And then there was an interview or the conversation she had with a North Carolina historian. I can't remember his name right now. Where she said,
Timothy
I'm
Tyson.
sorry. Yes, yeah, Timothy Tyson, where she said she lied. So there were all of those things. But
Can I just correct that?
I'm sorry. Okay.
The FBI, that perked the attention of everybody, right? We all know she lied. But when the FBI and the other authorities wanted to get proof of what Timothy Tyson had, they could not find it. So, and then later on, Carolyn's daughter-in-law, I believe, said that, they, first of all, they never knew that Timothy Tyson was writing a book. They didn't know that conversation that they had with him was going to be converted to something. And they deny that they recanted, because that was the story, that she recanted her story, that she lied on Emmett. And that is not true. And they claim that that's not true as well. So they said, we never admitted that there was a lie. So Carolyn Bryant died sticking to her story and her lie that Emmett made those sexual advances, that he touched her. None of those things were true. We know that. And she never owned up to it.
Deborah Watts, Emmett Till Legacy Foundation, as we go, tell us where people can find the foundation and if there are any assignments you would leave us with.
Yes. Well, first of all, we're on all social platforms. We're also, we do have a website. It's EmmettTillLegacyFoundation.com. We're on social platforms at Emmett Till, and it's EMMETT. So please follow us. You can help us, by supporting, providing any kind of resources, whether they're legal or Gen Zs and others, because we love young people being engaged, because they give us a new perspective and a new reason for continuing to pursue truth, justice, and accountability. We want their involvement. We also are wanting your support as we continue to provide true narratives to the National Park Service as they identify these sites. Our voices sometimes get minimized, and there's a narrative that's built that helps to make it more comfortable. But we want the truth told. So we're sitting with the National Park Service in many instances in helping to tell the truth and want to draw out the truth in their identification of these sites. Then we also do not want the perpetrators' families or any of the perpetrators to benefit off of Emmett's murder. And so as there are efforts to name locations, sounds like you got some music timing me out.
We got to go. But look, we love you.
Love you too. Thank you so much.
We'll be with you at all times. Love you, Deborah. Love to the family, okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Take care.
All right.
God-
Thanks, everyone. It has been Made Plain. Thanks for getting woke and listening to Make It Plain. As always, perform an act of kindness on behalf of an elder or young person. Write a letter to a sister or brother who just so happens to find her or himself incarcerated. Offer libations to the ancestors upon whose sturdy shoulders we all now stand. And above all, give thanks to the God of your understanding by whatever name you call her and him. All God asks of us is that we give each other love. Thanks for giving MIP love. And please remember to subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. If all hearts and minds are clear, it has been made plain.